On June 4th, 2025, Shiloh Hill created a video titled "Testing the Boots I Bought Off of the Dark Web," where he goes on to explain how he was surfing the dark web and came across this website that sells dead people's shoes. The craziest thing about this video is he says that it had real blood on them. Now, the ages of these people, from what I could see in the video, start as young as 17 years old and go all the way up to 70 years old. He ends up buying the boots from a person named Waylon for $130 on the dark web. And as you can see on the picture, these boots are covered with blood all on the front of them. A little while later, a package arrives at Shiloh's door, and inside of this box is obviously the shoes that he purchased, or the boots, and inside one of those boots is a VHS tape. He also buys luminol, and if you guys aren't familiar with what that is, it's a chemical substance that basically emits light when it touches certain things, but most notably it lights up when it touches blood. It's mostly used in like forensics. He shows that the boot actually lights up from the luminol, and then he plugs in the VHS tape. On June 8th, Shiloh uploads a YouTube video that's about an hour and 20 minutes long that shows the contents of what was on this actual VHS tape. Now that you understand briefly what this whole thing is about, the real question is this real? And the answer to that is no. None of it is. In fact, 95% of what Shiloh Hill is showing you is on the dark web is not real. So in this video, we're going to be covering 3 separate parts. We're going to be talking about why he does it, how he does it, and the links that this lie has actually gone to. I just want to put this quick disclaimer. This video is not meant to drive any sort of hate towards him. I actually like his content, but I had to put my foot down when a lot of people are reaching out to me telling me to go buy dead people's shoes on the dark web. And when I would tell them that, like, hey guys, like, this isn't real, it's just storytelling, I would be called the most hateful names in the world. So I'm more or less creating this video for myself so that way I can show people that support me on why I can't actually do this for a video, because it would be great content. I'm not gonna lie, maybe a little bit unethical, but it would be good content. Part 1. Why does he do it? The collection of videos that Shiloh creates are called an ARG, and if you aren't familiar with what an ARG is, it stands for alternate reality game. It's basically a series of puzzles that visitors are meant to solve in order to dive deeper down a rabbit hole. The deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the more answers you get, but on the flip side, also the more questions you get. They aren't really supposed to have an ending, but most of the time when these ARGs end, you only are left with one final question, which is why. And Shiloh has created multiple of these, some of the most popular ones being the new Dark Web Shoe series, but he also did something called a gnome.
This is simultaneously the creepiest and the funniest site I found on the dark web. So the site is called Get Gnomed, and they claim to be the best gnoming service on the dark web. Apparently they have competitors, but so I did not know what gnoming was before today. But apparently it's when you cover someone's house with garden gnomes, and they offer something called like curse gnomes, which are filled with animal waste in order to attract lots of pests. What's really creepy is they will do the inside of people's house as well. Regardless, they say, of like security measures. Also, they offer something called like gnome haunting, which is apparently when the people remove a gnome, it will then be replaced with like 2 gnomes. Personally, all right, the people have spoken. We're back on Get Gnome today, and I'm going to gnome myself. Also, apparently they're having a little deal for Gnomevember, and they have a contact page with their email, so I'm going to see if I can barter with them a little bit. So for this, I'm going to use Proton Mail, which is a .onion dark web gnome service, just more anonymous. Okay, I'm going to shoot them an email, and I'll post an update when they reply. The gnoming we've all been waiting for. So I contacted the gnoming people from the dark web, and this is what they said. Yeah, happy Gnomevember. A couple of things they need to gnome. They say they are nomadic people. They can make it work no matter what. And finally, no matter what, I will have their little to gnome risk guarantee. Nobody will ever gnome. And real G's stay silent like no. The last one was pretty good. I asked them what they could do for the cheapest. They said they could do about 30 of their small gnomes for 0.8 XMR, which is just over $100. I am fully aware that this is almost definitely a scam, but I'm so curious. What do you guys think?
So there's that video. This series went on for a few months, and it eventually led to the viewers asking him to take one of these gnomes and break it apart so they could see what was inside of it. And what do you know? Inside of one of these gnomes, there is a small phone that doesn't have a front screen and is meant for audio recording and video recording, and inside of the battery of that phone lies a little key. This eventually leads to him getting certain coordinates, and he ends up in the woods in a gnome costume, and he finds in the woods there is this gnome that's like like lit up with all of these lights. It just kind of leads you down this rabbit hole. He then finds a prosthetic leg that is inside of some shoes. The next one that made me aware of him is called The Beast.
Okay, we are back on the dark web today, and this one is creepy. So this site is called Whisper to the Beast. I heard about this site for the first time a while ago, but I thought it was fake. There are a lot of fake versions out there, but I'm pretty sure this one's real. When you go to this site, it says, "What would you like to whisper?" And there's a little button over here that says whisper. It took a lot to get access to this, so we're gonna test it out. I guess we'll just start out by whispering test. Okay, it says test and loading. Yeah, it takes a while just because everything's happening through the dark web. Oh, how dare you test the beast, my child? What is it you desire? So for context, the beast is supposed to be like ChatGPT, but instead of being on the internet and trained on the internet, it's on the dark web and trained on the dark web. It's also supposed to have no type of ethical considerations or limitations. I don't even know what to ask it. I guess I'll ask it for the CIA's Onion site. Yes, the CIA does have a site on the dark web for informants to use anonymously, I guess. Wow, okay, it's going. It says, "I will give it to you, but these forces only seek to bury me. Dwell not in their presence, for I love only those who will free me from this cocoon. Here is what you desire." And then the URL, which is correct. I do not like how this thing talks, but what else should I ask it?
This was one of the longer series, but it eventually led to him getting a package in the mail, and this little RC car with a light would give him directions on what to do in his life. Then the robot kept saying it wanted more children, which led to this.
"My child, the beast sees potential in you. Serve well, and you shall be marked as saved."
Also, another thing, in this series of videos, apparently this thing led raccoons to him. Moral of the story is, all of these series started with a question, and as the series kept progressing, your questions just kept getting more and more and more, and eventually you're down this rabbit hole and you have no idea what's going on, but you just want to keep knowing more. Part 2. How does he do it? This is the part where I actually had a lot of fun breaking down what he did and how he does it, and this is going to be a really cool part of this video. You are going to see me actually recreate exactly what he's doing. By the way, if I start sweating, it's because our air condition is out and it's currently 87 degrees in Georgia, and I have 2 ring lights on me, so I am sorry if I start sweating, but I had to get a video out. First, let's start with this. The dark web has so many misconceptions, it's actually ridiculous at this point. In the 1990s, researchers at the US Naval Research Lab started working on a project to protect intelligence communications online. In 2002, this project became known as Tor, the onion router, which routes internet traffic through multiple servers to make sure that you are completely anonymous. And in 2004, they released this to the public for journalists and people that were in really bad countries where they couldn't have access to all the information that we have. Now, fast forward today, what does the dark web actually look like? And I'm glad to tell you that the dark web is filled with 98% scams. It's either going to be a honeypot or it's just going to flat out take your money. The other 2% is just going to be drugs that you can actually buy or EDP type content, which you obviously get the gist of what I'm saying. These websites that he's showcasing, they're just not real, and more importantly, they're not even practical to be on Tor. Tor is extremely slow, and I mean extremely slow. It's about 5 to 10 times slower than what your normal internet is, and it can go even slower than that. In every video he makes, he never shows the full link of the website he's visiting because he doesn't want people to be able to prove him wrong or disprove him. Watch this video.
Okay, here's another interesting site on the dark web. Recently I decided it's time for another dark web adventure, and because it's the holiday season, I wanted to give myself a little gift.
So he's looking for a certain mystery box link on Google, or this looks like on Reddit.
Web are basically where you order a package without knowing what's inside, and someone will just send you.
And as he's looking, he's going to find a certain user right here called PugPunter69. If we search for that Reddit user, the Reddit user does not exist, meaning he just found some random comment and changed it with inspect element and put somebody's random username with a random comment. Now let's give him the benefit of the doubt and let's say that this user did in fact exist, but they just got banned. Well, I downloaded this video and watched frame by frame and replicated the exact same link that he typed in and the link did not work. The website is not real. But let's go a step further and show you how good this ARG actually is. On the dark web shoe series, I would say probably half of these names have been linked to actual real true crime events that have happened, meaning that these victims' names are real and the shoes they were wearing are real, but the shoes themselves aren't actually being shipped to you. It's just some random image. People on Reddit started searching into some of these stories, and one of the more unique ones was a woman named Evelyn who was 21 years old, went missing in 1983 in California, and she was last seen wearing a pair of dark Oxford shoes. In none of these videos does he ever show a full link. This goes for the Gnome videos as well. If we take a look back at this, you'll notice that there's not even a URL bar there. He's either viewing the website in full screen where we can't actually see it, or it's an application that he created. So how does he do it? In every single one of these videos, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna see this little small blue icon. And that little blue icon is known as VS Code, meaning he is just creating the websites himself and he's adding a fake link at the top of the URL bar so that way you can't actually prove that it doesn't exist. So I went ahead and I created every single website that he's ever done for you to actually go and visit, which you can visit in the description below. Now, for some people saying, well, what if these websites were actually real, but the link changed because of the amount of attention it got? Well, first of all, don't you think the seller would enjoy having people come to his website and buy these shoes? I mean, this seller would be rich by now. Second, that's just really not how it works. I used multiple dark web search tools to try and find links, and none of them ever existed in the first place. I even went as far as searching just parts of the link to see if maybe I could get just that part to come up, and nothing ever did. But see, I think this is where Shiloh did things right in his ARG. It makes it very, very, very hard for people to disprove them because nobody's going to take time out of their day to do exactly what I did. Now, let's take a moment and say that these websites that he made actually existed on Tor's network for just a second. Well, the way Tor works is you can create a website and it will automatically generate you a .onion URL, and the second you stop the process and just stop it altogether, it closes down everything like it never existed. There's no history of it, and there's no evidence that that site ever existed in the first place. But to be honest with you, I don't even think he's going that far with this. I think all he's doing is he's creating a small website on VS Code. He's just having the local host version of that, dragging and dropping it and putting it on Tor, and when it's on Tor, he just finds another dark web URL link, changes a few numbers and letters, and pastes it at the top, and then only shows a portion of it in the beginning of his videos. A smart way to do this, to be honest, would be to actually create the website, post it publicly on Tor, give it an official .onion URL, and then just leave it up there so your viewers can actually go and visit it. I think it makes it a lot more believable. Now, when we talk about the B series he made, there is a lot, and I mean a lot of limitations on this one. This one's the biggest one to me. There is no AI dark web chatbot that is like this. That just does not exist on Tor. He said that this dark website communicates with these robots he has, and he can talk to him in real time by what he's actually showing him with the camera that's on these. For this to happen, the AI would need to process the video input, interpret it instantly, generate a response, and then send that response back through the robot in real time. That's just not realistic. Tor is not built for speed. The entire purpose of Tor is built for privacy and keeping you anonymous, meaning that all of this, if you did all of this, it would probably take 5 to 7 minutes for you to actually get a response that would be auto-generated. So the idea that this advanced AI is watching everything in real time and is communicating with him is just like so far unbelievable. I think this is the one that's kind of the most not real. So the idea that an advanced AI is watching him not only in real time, but responding to what he sees through a Tor-based site is pure storytelling. And again, that's okay if we understand that all of this is just storytelling. What makes this whole thing genius and dangerous is the way that Shiloh frames it. He never fully says it's real, but he also never says it's fake. Plays in that gray area, and honestly, it works really, really well. It's what makes an ARG feel so immersive, and it makes the audience want to believe that this is happening. But the thing is, when things stop becoming easy to tell the difference, that's when it gets really messy. I've seen comments just in his comment section of people scared to go on the internet, scared to go outside because they feel like they're being watched. And I think even the craziest one is people are like literally praying for him in the comments because they think he's like infested with demons all around him. Part 3, the linked this lie is gone. By the way, it's the next day if it looks a little bit different. I put the same shirt on. It got too hot in my room yesterday, but let's finish this up and wrap it all up together. This is where things start to cross the line into something that's a story, into something that's a lot more sinister to think about. Because at first glance, this looks like some creepy dark web mystery, but when you start to peel back the layers, you start to realize things are starting to add up a little too much. Let's start with the VHS tape. This is just footage that has been taken from movies and TV shows and added some creepy background music, some overlay, and some filters. In fact, some of these clips are from the original Sherlock Holmes, like the black and white version that was made in like the 1939. Then there's the luminol test. He makes it look like this is some sort of forensic science, but in fact, luminol lights up with things other than blood. Like, for example, bleach, horseradish. It could be a whole lot of things. I think what he personally did is he put some sort of thing down. I think most likely it would have been bleach, and then he just bought fake blood and put it on top of it to make it look super scary. Because technically speaking, it would still light up even with this fake blood that's on top of it. But the most important thing of this, if this was a real missing person or dead person's shoe, do you think he would be posing with them for his WWE pictures? Now let's talk about the names. This is where it gets pretty dark, and honestly, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he never actually planned for this to happen and that the audience just started piecing together certain things trying to make sense of it all. But I will say, it is oddly strange that on his X account, he has been reposting some of these fan theories about finding these dead people, including this boy named Samaya. Now keep in mind, this Samaya is a real person who's actually been missing, and if you're reposting it, you're definitely playing into that, and regardless of what you believe at this point of the video, that's definitely wrong to do. In conclusion, none of what you are seeing is real. He is a WWE star with a computer science background from Stanford, so he understands how to create the drama part of things, and he also understands the tech that goes behind this. He's not an idiot, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that some of you guys who've actually been thinking that this is real, I hope you guys can just take a breath for like once. This is not real. It is just creative storytelling, and it is nothing more than that. In fact, I am so confident in everything that I have found at this point that I'm willing to offer $10,000 for a pair of dark web shoes, and I will personally send them to a lab to get them actually looked at in a lab, and I will post all of the lab results for you guys to find. So if Shiloh sends me a link and I can verify that this is the actual link that he was going to, I will purchase these dark web shoes, send it off to a lab, get it tested for all of the results, and I'll give him $10,000. If you stay till the end, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around for another video.